Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk about a pressing issue affecting all of us healthcare costs. According to the American Journal of Medicine, 61% of Americans go without needed healthcare. This statistic highlights just how significant the healthcare crisis is in our society. As college students, we might think that this crisis doesn't directly impact us, but it truly does. For example, last year I broke my leg and I didn't have health insurance. When I received the medical bills, I realized how a small accident could affect my future for a very long time. This experience opened my eyes to the flaws in our current healthcare system. With the cost of living continuously rising, many Americans are struggling to make ends meet. The first area where people tend to cut back is their health due to the staggering costs of hospitals, health insurance, tests, and prescriptions. While the average American's health is declining, it seems that healthcare administrators and regulators are becoming wealthier. This issue impacts every American, including college students just like us. Moreover, the American Journal of Medicine, in an article by Dr. James E. Dallin titled, "We Can Reduce U.S. Healthcare Costs," quote, "The healthcare crisis runs deeper than just costs." This article states how our current healthcare system focuses more on treatment than prevention, primarily because treatment is more profitable. They believe if we shift our focus towards preventative care, we could save money for all Americans in the long run. They state that unfortunately, hospitals adopt profit driven practices that can exploit patients financially, often leading to unnecessary tests or treatments. They believe this situation calls for a complete reform of our whole healthcare system. The American Journal of Medicine is a very credible peer reviewed source. This article shows no political ties or affiliations at all. Their motive is purely based on the well being of society. The author, Dr. James E. Dallin, is an accredited doctor. He wrote this article in 2010 to bring awareness to the United States healthcare crisis. Due to Dr. Allen's use of language and ethics in this article, I believe this article is an example of productive discourse. Dr. Dallin uses evidence and citations to support his stance on this topic. He speaks out of fact and doesn't directly attack his opposition. An example of his supporting evidence is, quote, "Drug companies can charge whatever they wish in the US. Citizens of other nations pay 20 to 40% less for prescription drugs compared to what Americans pay." He also stays on topic and relative to the issue. According to the textbook, deliberation, inclusiveness, provisionality, listening, learning, lateral communication, imagination, and empowerment are qualities of productive discourse. He meets most of these standards with his article. This leads me to believe he uses productive discourse. Dr. Dallin addresses his opposition in this article as well. He informs the audience of his opposition's points and ethically disproves them. An example of this is, quote, "Some authorities have suggested that if we decrease the profits of drug companies, they will stop developing new drugs. Given that drug companies spend more than twice as much for marketing and advertisement as they do for research, this is an unlikely outcome." According to our textbook, rhetorical policing is often associated with unproductive discourse. Dr. Dallin, addressing his opposition, shows that he doesn't participate in the practice of rhetorical policing. His lack of rhetorical policing proves that he participates in productive discourse. According to our textbook, rhetorical ethics are defined as behavioral expectations we have for communication exchanges that bond the speaker and audience in the shared consideration of a topic that affects the public good. Dr. Dallin meets this definition due to his proper and polite language used in this article. An example of this is, quote, "Due to poor planning, currently we have an overall shortage of physicians in the US." He addresses his opposition in a very polite manner. This leads me to determine that Dr. Dallin is participating in productive discourse in this article. After deeply analyzing Dr. Dallin's article, "We Can Reduce US Healthcare Costs," I can confidently determine that he uses productive discourse. His use of ethical rhetoric, Professional language and acknowledgement of rhetoric shows this. Thank you for listening to my analysis. Have a great night, everyone.